encourage each other today. So whenever you see someone beside you or over here who's kind of falling out, struggling, just say, hey, keep it going, we got this, encourage. I don't want to be breaking those things. Everybody's at different levels, and we want to just keep everybody going fit. So let's encourage each other, all right? So pass it on to Brianna, who's done good. Okay.
Go pray. Yeah, pray now. Go pray.
One, two, three.
Don't want me doing no sweat.
There we go.
So we're going to add a little hop to the right. So we're going to go switch. Switch. All right, march in place. Right? This one is a reset. We're going to go forward, back. Right foot forward, back. You want to do a little variance. All right, march it out, right foot.
There we go. You guys are doing great. Let's go.
Burn the cat finger out. Here, tap. There you go. If you can't do that and I follow the grapevine, just do a double side step. If there's anything you can't do, just go in the general direction.
March it out.
Can you take pictures? Like still for take pictures for like rainbow. Yeah, yeah, good.
We got one more. So that's it. All right, march it out.
Great.
So watch the first time. So you're gonna walk up and forward. You're gonna go to the side first. 2, back to 4. Then left. This is a box step.
Good. 3, 4.
To the right. To the back. To the left. March it out. That make sense? So if I yell march, what are you gonna do?
And when you march time, go back to the spot that you started at. So you can make that.
What about side step? Oh, side step? What is that? Oh, you guys do. Okay. What about single side step? There you go. Everything to the right side. Double. March it out real quick. There will be one part of the song that says to take it around the world. You're gonna have 8 counts. You're just gonna take it around.
I like taking it around.
All right, march it up again. Right foot. Cross up. Hey, you do this one. Wait, hurry up. That's your dancing tree.
No, no.
I don't know because I'm outside with you anyway.
March it out, right foot. Yeah. March it out.
March it out. Hey, march it out.
How much, Laura? Alright, so if you need water, you got 1 minute to get it. Okay. You need a sip. 1 minute. Then we're gonna start routines. Stretch it out while you can.
That was just a little bit faster.
You guys all warmed up? Take it out, take it out, take it out, take it out.
My goodness.
Ready? That's 2.
When I wake up.
got people with us. Keep it going.
Turn right. Turn right.
Guys, we still going? We got another song.
Now, if you answer yes to some of these questions, all of these questions, we congratulate you. But if you answer no to any of these questions, just you get this incorrect. And then I'm going to ask you, it says right here, do you keep old basement closets and attics clear of old rags, papers, mattresses, broken furniture, and other combustible odds and ends? Probably people say no then. All right, if you store paint, varnish, etc., do you keep the containers like you probably do? Has everyone in your family been doing
That assemblies can live out their last days in their home as long as they're safe. That's what we want to honor them. And sometimes you don't want to leave them because daddy can come to the day
when no one is using?
right home at night. He's not being
And also another thing that
and they don't have to come every day. They can come 2 days, one day a week. But if we give them a breakfast, snack, before lunch, and after the snack, they got music, they can make jewelry, they have flower arrangement, they do art, they do exercise, they do a lot of stuff. It's not like you just sit and sit. Yeah, be stagnant. We want them to be engaged and happy. But the main thing is
They can get tested for it.
we're going to make sure that all that is
That means now you know.
Earlier the better, right?
Right. And then,
I feel like that song right there. But that song, but I feel like. But do you think, yeah, isn't it awesome?
everybody gets the same service. And then your child has got to take off work to take you to the doctor. And your child is missing something. If you need to find somebody to go get your medicine from the doctor, you gotta pay $40 every time you go to the doctor. And pay that monthly premium, $134.
That's, I used to,
Versus,
not like the,
you know, your cost might be that, may not be that high.
and what it will, it will extinguish your fire immediately.
I know you're not supposed to use water, so is it salt?
No, don't use salt, don't use baking soda. If you have a fire in your kitchen, that's what these fire blankets are for. And what these do,
Are those at home?
Every house.
no, we provide these for people, you know, from looking at the presentation, but this falls out. And all you do is just do what that lady's doing. She's got her hands on both of these straps. She's got her hands covered up and half of her face, and then you throw that over the pot and it'll smother the fire completely out. But the best way to put out a fire on your stove is if you have a top to it. Cover the fire, cover the top, and then turn the burner off. Okay. That's how you put out a fire.
So what if it's spreading everywhere?
If it's spreading everywhere, then you have a fire extinguisher, then you put it out that way. If you can't put it out, the thing you need to do is need to get out of your house. Because see, you can, everything inside your house, you can replace. But now you can't replace, we only got one of us. And see, a lot of people, when they have fire stuff, they want to trying to grab everything they can. If you can't put that fire out, run out of your house. Get out of your house and call 911. So what we're doing, we are registering people for a free fire safety kit. So like I said, you get one of these emergency burn kits. You get a home safety checklist. You also get these people locator stickers. A lot of people have never even seen these right here. But what you do with these, you put these on occupied bedroom windows. So if you ever have a fire, when the fire department gets there, they see these stickers, they check those windows first to make sure everybody's out safe. But you only put them on windows where people are actually
Just give us a call and we'll be happy to come back.
And we'll go over some more of these other
Yes,
things.
and you want to visit and take it to one.
Case of the trial.
You can come and take it to appointment.
Like,
So all you gotta do.
they want to work to make it possible for seniors to stay at home. So they don't mess it up.
You're looking for your mom, you think she might need some rehab?
Yeah.
She's
They take them to the doctor's appointment.
very independent,
They'll
fully
come and clip their
functioning.
toenails.
It's just the mental
More comfortable
part.
in their environment.
But yeah, she
Exactly.
used to water and road. It's good for her, you know, the circulation because I don't want it to
Yeah.
be stiff.
Yeah.
And I want the muscles to stay
So
strong.
we do range of motion. Like if some people don't need full-blown physical therapy, they do range of motion exercises for everybody.
That would be good. Yeah,
Everybody.
because she doesn't like full, like what we were doing in there, that workout.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna do that. They do chair exercises. They have chair volleyball with beach ball. They put a volleyball, net up, and it's for everybody. So even if people aren't in a wheelchair, everybody sit down, so everybody can play. And they just beach volleyball.
And I think as she progresses, she's beginning to come to terms with the fact that she needs some more assistance.
And if a person needs an aid in the home, that's even covered under pay.
Really, yeah.
We can send the aid out for people who might need
It's bothering me. It's really starting about to start crying because I've been but she'll forget. If I don't take it right up to her bed and then I'm running, because I got 3 little kids, so she'll forget that the food is down there. I'll fix it. And so I have to call back from work. So I'm calling throughout the day at work because I'm constantly thinking, Mom's not eating. I fix food in the refrigerator for lunch. And I say, Mom, if she has snacks in her room, fruit or what, she'll eat on that all day, but it's junk.
Yeah, and like convenient stuff.
Yeah,
It's easy, it's no fuss.
And
Potato
sweet.
chips, candy, donuts, stuff like that.
Yes.
That's common. That's really common. Yeah. So don't think that, it's never happened before. Yeah. But the thing of it is, she's got to have some buy-in. Because if it's not her idea, it's hogwash.
That is it.
Oh, I know.
Goodness.
I
And
know.
she's 78. She knows she's the mama, and I'm trying to find that place of respect and still taking a leadership role and trying to redirect her.
Does she have any friends her age that might be attending PAS? So I'm gonna tell you what happened. We had a lady. She was
Pushed
90.
up against any electrical plugs or anything. Yeah, you need to check that, okay?
But you can have a little bit of space in between.
Yeah, you have to have some space, right? Do you allow only qualified electricians to install or extend your wiring? Okay. Is there enough electrical outlets in every room to avoid the need for multiple attachment plugs and long extension cords? Extension cords are a very bad fire hazard. And a lot of times extension cords are used, especially during Christmas time, with your Christmas trees and stuff. You gotta be, because a lot of fires, if you just read the newspaper and listen on the news, from about November to February, that's the worst months, right? Those are the worst 4 months for fires. All right, do you have special circuits for heavy duty appliances such as kitchen rangers or clothes dryers? Are any extension and appliance cords checked frequently to make sure they are not worn or frayed? That is real important right there. Are loose prongs or plugs checked and replaced if found defective? Okay, and are all electrical cords in the open not run under rugs, through doorways or partitions, over hooks, radiators, heaters, pipes, or ducts? All right, so these are some of the things that we cover with people. Inside here is called Operation Edith. Operation Edith stands for exit drills in the home. So what this does, this teaches you how to do fire drills inside your house, and you need to do fire drills regularly and stuff, because a lot of people, when they have a fire, what people do, they panic. And if you panic and you don't know what to do, that's how people get caught inside their house and they can't get out. And if you get trapped inside your house and the fire traps inside your house, you can't get out, then you're not gonna make it out. Okay? This also teaches you the importance of having a meeting spot outside your home. That is very, very important. So what we suggest people do is, at our house, our meeting spot is across the street from our driveway. And that's where most people's meeting spot should be. It needs to be way away from your house.
So not the backyard, but
It can be in the backyard, but it's as long as it's away from your house. But you have to have one specific meeting spot. The reason being is this, and this, I don't know whether you all read this before. This happened about 9 years ago in High Point. There were two brothers that stayed together. This happened on Oberlin Drive in High Point. And the families, their last name was Salter. There were two brothers that lived together. One was in a wheelchair and one wasn't. They had a fire. They went out opposite doors, but didn't have a meeting spot. The one that could walk didn't see his brother that was in the wheelchair that was already outside.
And he went back.
He went back in looking for his brother and he died. He didn't make it out. And so, see, the moral of that story is never go back into a burning house or a burning building and always have one specific meeting spot. Because if they had a meeting spot, they would have met outside, and both of them would be alive right now. And that happens a lot. So it doesn't matter what door you run out of. Everybody's got to be at one specific meeting spot.
The family, the whole family, all the children. You remember that one?
The lady that lost all her.
All the
The
man was there, but all the children.
That story. Well, we got a story video that we show people when we go into the house and show them the presentation. There's a family, I think it was up in New York. They had a fire. The 4 children were upstairs. The parents and their little baby was downstairs. What happened is the fire started at the electrical box upstairs. All right, so what it did, it climbed the wall and got into the attic. All right, so most people don't have anything in their attic that's going to tell them they have a house fire. So what happened, the lady came on real late at night, fell asleep, and she heard a loud bump, and she didn't know what that was and stuff. So what that noise was is the ceiling, because they didn't have anything up in their ceiling to tell them they had a fire up there. What the ceiling did, it crashed down on her 4 children that were upstairs. They never had a chance to get out. So and you know what? The lady said that none of her smoke alarms went off. She had smoke alarms all over her house. Not one of them went off, because the regular alarms that comes in people's house, they're ionization alarms, and they do not detect black smoke. And if they do, it's a very deadly delay, and that's why people don't get out. Because these alarms right here. These are probably similar to what y'all got in y'all house right now.
That's it.
I find this one right here, and over 90% of homes that I go into got this same alarm right here. And these alarms right here, they just don't react to black smoke. So that's just because they're ionization alarms. So what we have, this is called Crossfire. I mean, not Crossfire, this is called OmniShield. Now, OmniShield's been out, I've been with this company a little over 6 years. It'll be 7 years in October. But OmniShield, these are photoelectric alarms. So they detect white and black smoke. So I'm just gonna demonstrate our network to you. I want you to hold that pup right there. All right, so this is these are the smoke alarms. Heat alarms go in areas where smoke alarms are not supposed to go into. So the heat alarms go in attics, garages, kitchens, where your furnace is located, water heater. That's where heat alarms go on, because you can't put a smoke alarm in those areas because of the heat thing, and it'll make them go off too quick. And this is the carbon monoxide alarm. All right, so I'm gonna press the smoke alarm. It's gonna make the alarm go off. See, all of these alarms talk to one another. They talk to one another. So when this one goes off, that flame icon is gonna light up red. It's gonna give a 3-pulse signal, and it's gonna send that signal to the heat sensor, the CO sensor, and to the bedside control center. So what this is right here, this is actually will shake your bed and tell you that you got a fire. So that's what that puck is going to do. So you have to hold it real tight. Whoa. All right, now it's going to send this signal to all of them.
Okay.
Vibration.
All right, so what it's going to do is going to shake your bed. And the reason we have this right here, this is for people that are real heavy sleepers. That's a 520 hertz horn right there that will go off. And anybody that's a heavy sleeper, they will hear that right there. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen if you have a carbon monoxide sensor. So you hold it. All right. So it's gonna sound. It's gonna give you a 4 pulse.
Wow.
So it's gonna sound totally different than it does when you have a 5. All right. Now it's gonna send the signal.
That'll wake you up.
All right, so I'm gonna do it one more time. All right, so if you see or hear that, that means you have carbon monoxide poisoning, and you all need to get out of your house as quick as possible. Because carbon monoxide, you can't see it, you can't taste it, and you can't smell it. So if an alarm system up to pick it up, you all can get out and get out alive. There's a family, this happened up in New York about probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was made national news. A whole family, mom, dad, 5 children died carbon monoxide poisoning in the sleep. But they didn't have an alarm to tell them that they had carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay?
Lisa motels also with those cars underneath.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They call them
Okay. And we also have water sensors also. All right. There's a lot of people that have property damage inside their house from water damage. Water damage can cause a lot of damage in people's house if it goes undetected. And a lot of people don't know this too. An undetected water leak within 24 to 48 hours can start causing mold to build up inside your house. And mold is very, very dangerous stuff, especially to your respiratory system and stuff. So we have the water sensors. I'll show you how these work too. I'm just gonna take a drop of water, put on here. So see, that sounds totally different than it does when you have fire. All right. Okay, so the first place you put them on the floor next to your washing machine. You can put them where your water heater is located, underneath sinks, near toilets, dishwashers, refrigerator. Any place you think you may have a water leak, that's where those water sensors go. And all of these alarms right here have 20-year batteries. What? You never have to change the battery. 20-year battery. Well, what I'd like to do is, have you to fill out one of these cards here, and then I'll call you up, and we can set up a day and time that I can come by and show you all the information, and we can just go from here. Just for me coming by, like I said, you get the emergency burn kit. You can get the people locator stickers. You can get a home safety checklist, and plus, but you're going to do the main thing. You're going to get some great information on fire safety and how to get out of your house and get out of your house alive. Okay. And look, 80% of people that go inside their house, they don't have fire extinguishers, and a lot of people don't have alarms everywhere. Some of these older homes I go into, they have one alarm in the hallway. Okay, and see, this is what happens when you have a fire. Heat and smoke rises, and what it does, it has to cover the entire ceiling with smoke. And then what it does, it comes down, and then it hits the door header, and then it goes out into the hallway. So if the only alarm you got is in your hallway, and the fire's in the bedroom, it's not gonna catch it in time. It's not gonna catch it in time. So I'd like for everybody to fill out one of these cards and let me come by your house and show you this information. You fill out the bottom part, and then you take the other part.
Let me just say this. This was a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were all sleeping. And for some reason, I woke up in the middle of the night, walked down the stairs, and as I walked down the stairs, I heard a spark. And it was the hot water tank.
Okay.
Sparking.
Okay.
So if I hadn't been there at that moment, would have caught fire. What would have caused that? A hot water tank?
Well, how would what they do? There's a time limit, not a time limit. Most hot water heaters will last 10 to 12 years. After then, they could malfunction. and they can start fires, or they can burst and water goes everywhere.
I never would have thought the sparks would come, because this is water.
Mm-hmm.
I see this is water.
Right.
But sparks coming.
Mhm.
So the whole fire truck, everything came, because, you know, before it developed. and
Mhm.
stuff. But the time that I came down, so the timeliness of it, you see what I'm saying? And I mean, this is very good information. Having a 94-year-old mother who lives at home, that's just like having an infant baby.
Right. It is.
She can't get up and feel it's like an infant baby. You don't need to baby to feel. They can't do anything. They can't. A 2-year-old can get up and run out the door. But an infant baby.
That, you, oh, do you? Okay, okay. All right, right, okay.
I did have a pan catch fire in that
Here you
kitchen.
go.
That thing scared me so bad. Yeah.
Oh, for you?
I could not put it out. I had to call 911. It scared me so bad. I think it was in my oven. It was grease had dripped somehow. It must have been something.
Help her figure out how much money it might be. But it doesn't mean that she won't be qualified. It's just her payment may be different from somebody else. Because like I said, somebody might pay $5,000. Somebody might pay $150. It just depends on how much they income. Yeah, please.
I cannot wait to tell her.
Give us a call. You don't have to stress. We can help.
A little bit combative, you know.
Oh, no. My mom said the ones out.
But she did say when she goes to take the doctor and then for to somebody come see her, and she went to a therapist one time. She makes it seem everything is okay around the people. Yeah.
She, I wonder if she's taking medications or anything, because that can help with some of it too. Medications for everything like certain meds like Linda, Aricept, things like that may help. I'm not sure. She would be happy to sit down and talk to you. And another thing I think I told you that our providers work at PACE. They're at PACE Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. So if she ever wants to see her doctor, the doctor's already there.
But you're assigned a doctor, like a new.
Yeah, her doctor is there. If she comes to the center, just to come, and she said, I don't feel good. She said, take her right to the back.
Right
She
there.
just see her doctor.
Yay, because I had to even tell everybody
Yeah.
to
I'm so glad that you came here. This is, I just,
Or give us a call.
yeah. I mean, I just don't know how these people know. I mean, of course, people know about
They
it.
don't.
Like,
They know they don't. A lot of people don't know about
Find
AIDS
the safest
because
weirdest out in your neighborhood. I got 4 quick questions to ask you, and I'll be out here. And then I ask these questions right here.
last year,
Have you ever been in a house fire?
they don't know they did things. Just J program. They don't know.
Do you have a meeting spot outside?
The biggest part of it is provide medical care. That's the biggest thing. We are a medical provider with an adult day program, not an adult day program. A medical provider.
thanks for all that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have a give us a call.
Yes, I'm sending a song to
Be looking forward to hearing
I
from
didn't
you.
even tell anybody. Oh, no, because I asked, I just asked Ms. Walters how many seats we have, and she said 600. I said, to any of it, she said no. So then I started talking to
I asked her a month ago.
you asked me or my mom.
No, I asked you, because I asked you directly. She was like, they're limited tickets. I was like, all right, it's all right. I understand. Good. It's all great. I understand. But now, so I made plans. I'm going to Atlanta next weekend, so I can't go.
See this? See
I
this?
can't go. I'm going to Atlanta.
But I didn't see there's limited tickets.
25th?
Did I say I have to ask you?
In their house.
I don't know.
Provide all of their medical, all the doctor's appointments, all the therapy, all the medications, glasses, dentures, hearing aids, rollers, canes, all of that stuff is covered with enrollment into PACE. So if adult children need help caring for a senior, then we could come in and possibly provide assistance with this. Well, we have a CNA that, if they need a CNA, could come out and help with bathing. But if they need a lot of the edge is assisted. Man, what age? 55 and up. 55 and up. Yeah, so if they need a service, we'd be happy to just have a conversation about it.
I normally don't.
Then the one who is a citizen, they need to be speaking before.
They need to be, I'm sorry.
Citizen.
I think it's a breakdown of communication. I can't.
Yeah, you tell me
Grace and peace.
the citizen
Grace and peace.
senior.
It's time for the next session.
55 and up.
Everybody gather
55 and up.
in the
But if you are
sanctuary.
not
please.
citizen, they cannot.
Everybody gather to the sanctuary.
Dora, you know the audience changed. Her children, I was so happy that she was here. And then when we were talking, the key thing is promotion, promoting healthy living in general. Okay, we have done the exercise. That's one of the, when you talk about general well-being, okay, you have to shake. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go to the gym. What we did is perfect. Even if people can sit down, on the floor, as long as something is moving, you are doing it. So the next thing is the food. And we actually did a lot about health promotion. In fact, that's actually the highlight of this. So initially it was going to be, the audience was going to be like people from, people that actually cook and then eat African food, but let's switch it and talk about food in general. Healthy, even though I have some example. Before she called my name, somebody here, you were telling me, what did you say that you ate today?
This morning I ate rice.
Okay, rice and beans. Okay,
This morning, 8:30.
okay.
I got sleep. I
Okay.
cooked it. It was so good. I went to work. I came home. It was smelling. I said, no, I gotta eat this before I lay
Is it
down.
rice and beans, right?
Rice and beans.
Okay, so did you get that? Rice and beans. Okay, so it's amazing. Okay, let me ask people, not very many people from Africa right now. We're African American and then other populations. Where I came from, okay? I'm originally from Nigeria, specifically Igbo. There's no blessed day here that I don't eat rice. Okay? Then when I remember what you said, I bet it's going to be about carbohydrate. Okay? Everything we eat is about carbohydrate. Just give me a second. I remember when I got this. Okay? Here. Look at the one in the middle. What is this in the middle here? Diabetes. Okay. Diabetes, I will make a little story. Okay, a little story. Years and years ago, before I got here, you hardly find people from Africa suffering from diabetes, specifically type 2 diabetes. Because almost like what people do here. Car. How many of you own cars? How many of you drove by yourself? That means you have access to your own car or somebody's car you are driving. Raise your hand. Okay. Where I came from, do you know driving a car in the olden days is a luxury, okay? It's actually luxury, it's not a necessity. But here, owning a car is actually what? Necessity. So my point being, every blessed thing that people do over there involves movement. That means no matter how they eat, the exercise part is taken care of. And that used to be in the olden days, not really so many years ago. But guess what? Nowadays, in recent years, almost a lot of people, you see cases of type 2 diabetes. You'll be wondering, what is going on? Because people have turned to Western cultures and the way they eat. A lot of people don't go to farm to do what they're supposed to do. People don't really. When I visited Nigeria, my home place, that was in 2017, 2 years ago. Is it even 2 years ago? Okay, so I saw people going to the farm with there's this motorcycle, we call it Okada, and people actually driving to the farm. Doesn't that defeat the purpose? Even though there is road there, but what is the point? If you are going to farm, why are you driving? Why are you using it? It defeated the purpose. So when I was working with my sister, they were looking at me, looking at us like that. I said, that's what going to farm, because when you work, you're actually doing the physical activity. So things balance. That's what being
proactive, the general well-being. People don't have to do something when you already have the disease, okay? Dora, she was talking about public health. She is public health, she knows what she's talking about, because when we come to public health, in terms of prevention, we have 3 levels of prevention, okay? The best one, if everybody can do that, is what we call primary prevention. Okay, we have primary, we have secondary, we have tertiary, okay? Primary is just like you said, the first line. What are we doing? You are doing everything possible not to give anything a chance to begin. So how do we do that? Monitor what you eat, participate in physical activity, take care of your body. Because it's your body, it's amazing. When people talk about taking care of their body, I can't tell you what is wrong with you. I cannot tell you what is wrong with you. Okay, your body is always telling you something. So the key thing is, are you listening to what the body is telling us? Pardon my, it's hard. And mine may be coupled with something else. So that primary prevention is actually the highlight of what we'll be doing today, okay? But before we get to that, the secondary prevention, people that already, just by being a human, like that thing in the middle that I showed you, the diabetes, being a human, we are all at risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Not the type 1, but type 2 diabetes, okay? Because that one, that's all that things can factor, but most of the time is what are you eating and are you participating in a physical activity, okay? So if you're at risk, are you doing the screening? Like you were mentioning, during the screening, people can check the blood sugar level. So if you screen out something, are you taking care of it? That means ability to detect something early so that you can give treatment a chance, okay? That one is secondary prevention, okay? When you come to tertiary prevention, is when you already have the issue in question. That means the disease. Let's just go back to diabetes. If you already have diabetes, what are you doing? Are you just letting diabetes have you? That's not good, because type 2 diabetes, yes, it sounds unfortunate, but if you're unfortunate enough to get it, it's actually manageable. It's preventable, it's manageable. So that the people have it doesn't mean that it's a death sentence. So you can continue to do what you're doing to manage it. That's the only good part about diabetes. It's preventable. If you're unfortunate to have it, you can manage it. You can manage it. So with that being said, since this is a round table, I have been the one talking, except 2 people that talked. I liked what you said about how you eat. So in a general suggestion, when it comes to eating, how many people have heard it's always good to eat, people say that to eat 3 square meals a day, okay? What is the meal? How much are you eating? What kind of plate are you using? Are you using a 12-inch plate or 9-inch or the other? That's what makes a difference, okay? So whenever it comes to good nutrition, the general advice again, general advice again, we change. Have you ever seen this?
Yes.
Yeah, my plate. Good. And this plate is based on 9-inch plate. Wow. People, it's 9-inch. It's not 12, or even if some people can have something that looks like a big tray. Yeah. So when you do, I don't know why you're laughing. So this is based. It's always good. They used to call it my pyramid, and then now it's choose my plate. It's my plate. You get it. You have the look at fruit and vegetable mixed up half. Okay, you have the grains, you have the protein. Protein, anything that gives you protein, except look at dairy. I know we get protein from dairy, but dairy is out there, because dairy, talking about milk, yogurt, and cottage cheese and all that. Yeah, even though it gives you protein too. So if you follow this, you can't really go wrong. Yeah, but it's easier said. It's really, really easier said than done, okay? I will let people start jumping in, okay? I like to tap on to you what you said earlier about our body, and when you were giving us brownie and the smoothie. I think I was having a little conversation with somebody. I have a daughter, even though everybody's one daughter, I have 3 daughters. But one of them, if I make rice and make stew, okay, or you can call it sauce, some people will call stew sauce, and put a little bit, put vegetable in the rice. That thing can actually be a reason for that girl not to eat the rice. But she likes smoothie. So what I said, I will take a picture of what you said and actually send her the recipe. And that's a good way. That's a good way. It's called healthy alternative. It doesn't have to be cooked. But if you do that and then you use that, isn't that getting the vegetable? Okay. So when people say, you said something about soda, artificial thing, added things that can be harming our body. We say natural, it's always good. But in terms of fruit juices, a good rule of thumb or evidence kind of thing is instead of drinking it, eat it. Instead of drinking, eat it. So when you are comparing apple juice to soda, of course apple juice is good. When you are comparing, it's better. When you are comparing orange juice to some kind of soda, orange juice is good, but it's even better if you are eating the orange. Instead of drinking it. The same thing with the apple, because you get what you are getting there. In addition, you are getting fiber. And how many of you have heard about fiber? What is it that fiber does for us?
It helps with the bowel
Elimination system.
That is my sin again. She gave me a lot of paper, and I'm missing that. Yeah. It's what?
Lowers blood sugar.
Good. It lowers blood sugar. It has bulkiness towards too, right? So it makes you go. It promotes relaxation. That means it makes you go. And the growth that I mean is you have bowel movement, okay? It can actually trap cholesterol depending the kind of fiber, okay? So it can, I don't know whether you have seen magnets. Remember the kind of magnet that people put on their refrigerator? That's what fiber does for, some fiber does for cholesterol. It can actually trap it just like, and then wave it away. But guess what? Again, that rule of thumb in nutrition, whatever you do in what? In moderation. Even though fiber is good for you, if you do too much fiber, guess what? It will turn around and do what? And hurt you. That means the person will be experiencing diarrhea. And the picture for a second, whether you have had diarrhea or seen somebody with diarrhea, look at the things moving. Okay? Frequency of bowel, close your eyes and think about that. Frequency of bowel movement, and then you are doing it and doing it. And guess what? When you are doing it, it's not just the bowel, you are losing other things too in your body, and that body needs to maintain that balance. Okay. So I brought some sample. Like I was telling Dora, it's almost like our audience changed. That's why. Okay, we have this. How many of you have heard something called fufu? Yeah, good. That's when I say fufu, because my original audience was going to be not really to do cooking, but to promote, different population. But the African population that eats a lot of fufu, rice, yam, and all kinds of things. Carbohydrate. Yes, carbohydrate is good. Our body actually prefer carbohydrate to be the main source of our energy. Our body does that. But it doesn't have to be too much. Eventually, every other thing, like we have the carbohydrate, we have protein, we have fat, but our body prefers carbohydrate to be the preferred source of energy. Because what happens, okay? If you are eating and you find yourself in a place where you didn't get a chance to eat for days, if you are going to die, listen to this. If you are in good nutritional status, that means you are eating well and your body is good. You are not tapping into your reserves, okay? And then you find yourself in a place where a couple of days, if it's your time to die and you die, it won't be because of what? Starvation. No. Because your body is already equipped with that, because you are already in a good nutritional status. When you don't eat, what your body does is it taps into stored carbohydrate that we call, does anybody know what it's called? It begins with G? Glycogen, exactly. That's how our body stores carbohydrate, okay? In the plants, that carbohydrate is stored as starch. But in animals, and we just happen to be example of animal, is stored as what? Glycogen. So if you don't have it, their body will tear down that glycogen to give us what? glucose that goes into metabolism and gives us energy. And we need that energy. Our cells need the energy to perform what we look at the dance that we just finished doing. You have to have that energy to be able to do that, okay? But if you stay and stay and stay, you don't have that food again, then your body may start breaking down fat and protein, specifically fat to begin with. And when your body breaks down fat, guess what? It's loaded up with what we call what? Ketone bodies. Ketones, which is not good. It will disturb the acid-base balance in your body. That's how come people with diabetes, have you ever heard about what is called diabetes ketoacidosis? Ketoacid, that's what is going on. But you don't have to have diabetes for your body to break fat to give you energy in order to get what? Ketone bodies. Because when you have individuals that are experiencing that, if they breathe through, the breath will smell like fruity that's what is not good for the body. It's not good. So what is the message here? Eat well, okay? And what is the eating well? Even if it means just using that plate, the small plate, and doing that, because it's never good to tell an individual that have already formed eating habit to just stop. You need to stop today. No, it doesn't work. It takes time. It takes time. So with that knowledge, we can't tell people to stop eating food. Nobody from Africa will ask, I won't stop eating fufu. It's what are we using for fufu? Okay, like I said, I'm from Nigeria, specifically Igbo. Fufu for us, the original fufu is made out of fermented cassava. That's the original fufu. But here, when people get out or even stay at home, they find alternative ways. But the big question, are those alternative ways good? What I use specifically, fufu is supposed to be anything that is starchy. So the big question is, what is your source of starch? Okay, I use oatmeal combined with mashed potato. Okay, some people just use, even using oatmeal by itself is even perfect. Okay, some people will use cream of wheat combined. Some people will use bluntly flour, bleached flour for fufu. So picture oatmeal versus bleached flour. Which one do you think is more nutritious? Now we are coming, and that's the thing. Did we tell anybody to stop eating fufu? No. You see, what are you using for your fufu? So that kind of thing. When it comes to rice, our sister here said that she ate rice and beans, okay? And that's a good cup. I even brought some beans. I don't know the kind of beans. This is, I will get to here. This, okay, is this black eye? Exactly. So I got this. Well, I didn't cook this, but this kind of beans, black eyed peas, we call it beans, but it's black eyed peas here. This is another, all these things, they belong in the beans family. So instead of just eating, cooking rice like that, you can make it half and half. Or if you are using combination of 3 things or 40, make it a quarter and quarter. So their plate will be filled, but it won't be just rice. There is something not so nutritious about bleached rice. That means the white rice, okay? So alternative way could be, you use instead of the white rice, you use what? Brown rice. Yes, the more whole wheat it is, the better. It's the better. Again, somebody has to monitor whether you are allergic, because some people are allergic to something, okay? A way to make sure that you are preventing some kind of allergy. When you introduce new things, do it small by small, one at a time, so that if something is happening, you can pinpoint that this is it. But if you combine things and doing it, that's not right. If something is wrong, you will know which one is causing trouble. So introduce, just like children, when you are giving baby solid food, people that have had children and fed children, you introduce a little bit cereal and banana. You wait until 1 week, cereal and something else. You don't just combine all of them. And that works for adults too. Okay, anybody else jump in? Like I said, what are you doing to promote healthy living? We twist it to healthy, not to promote in Africa, maybe but healthy living. Let's hear from.
With the brownies we had today, that was an experience, and I didn't really want to say. I knew some people knew what the ingredients were for the brownies, but we used black beans for the brownies. There's no butter, there's no dairy. And that, I was supposed to add applesauce too, but it's just black beans and just almost a tablespoon of vegetable oil, cocoa powder, and coconut sugar. So I didn't use the refined bleached white sugar, I used coconut sugar and just flavoring. But that was an alternative, I didn't tell my daughter. She was like, it
So, and
tastes
she likes
different.
it anyway.
Yeah.
She may notice that it tastes different,
Yeah.
but she likes it anyway. That's good.
Amen.
Anybody else?
I have a good question. So one thing that I've been doing for like a month or two now is cut out red meat.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just felt like, because I know just red meat in general is not healthy for the body. As far as, but just knowing that that's what I came up on, being African as well too. So I just wanted to, know what your intake on that.
Okay, it's good. It's good, and I will even back it up with something. When I was talking about, maybe I haven't said that yet. Okay, if you have meat, all kinds of meats lying around, you have the beef, you have meat from poultry, that's turkey and chicken, and then fish. The first alternative would be the healthy alternative would be to choose the fish, right? Okay, the reason is that I remember mentioning that we belong with the animals. Remember when I was talking about how carbohydrate is stored in the body as glycogen. So any animal source of food, that means be it beef, chicken, turkey, and whatever, it comes with the cholesterol. That's how come we have cholesterol too. When people are suffering from high cholesterol, if you didn't get it, if you didn't inherit it from your parents, it must be what you are eating from the food. If you are eating well and then you are still experiencing high cholesterol, it must have been in, because we do have cholesterol. In nutrition, there's something that we call essential nutrients, okay? When you say that something is an essential in general, that means it's something that you need, right? So when a particular food is called an essential food, okay, that means you need that food, okay? When a particular food is said non-essential, you don't really need that. So cholesterol is amazing. It's not really essential because, okay, let me go back again. When some kind of food is labeled essential, that means our body must have that, okay? Cholesterol is not an essential nutrient. Our body already have that. Our body cannot, so essential food is that our body needs that, but our body cannot make them. And our body, we must get it from meal or supplement. So with that knowledge, cholesterol is not an essential nutrient. We don't need it because our body is already making some. Okay? Okay. So what you are doing is good. You don't stop, and it's amazing doing something in moderation. Like I know I was saying earlier, you can't just tell people to stop. It's like chronic people that drink a lot and they even smoke. You're telling them today is today. You have to stop that today. You can't. Even if you stop, your body will pay the price. It's gradual, because the person didn't just develop the habit, bam, that day. So in order to stop it, you can't just, it's not fair to do that. It's not fair to our body to do that. It's a gradual decline, okay? And what I was saying about 3 square meals earlier, it's actually good to eat more than 3. Even it says little portion is better than 3 huge meals. It's better, it says, if you can do, and a little bit snack in between. It's the portion that makes a difference. It's like what people say, it's amazing. It's actually evidence-based when people say that little red wine. Remember them, when you are looking for something, it's not coming to mind, but people have said it's good to get a glass of red wine, that it helps you. It's good for your cardiac well-being, your heart. Yes, it's good for your heart, but the big question, what is the glass? Okay, for Mama Dora, the glass may be 2 ounces, 4 ounces. For the next person, glass can be 20 ounces. So it's the portion that makes a difference. It's the portion. 8, when you talk about 8, you don't go above 8. 4 is even better. Okay, for adult, it's not promoting people to be drunkard, but it's what is the glass? Okay, people say, what is a portion? You're talking about a portion to serve for one carbohydrate, count for 1 carbohydrate, a little slice of bread. You know, some people, there's this thing you say, you make a feast. People, when I make my own feast, my feast is bigger than yours. So the portion makes a difference. The portion size makes a difference. That's why you can't go wrong. When you say the my plate, people can't really go wrong because nobody's telling anybody to measure anything. You just get a plate. It's based out of 9-inch plate. Okay. You don't load up your plate to be things to be falling. You picture it, you know, just picture it, and it doesn't have to be. If you maintain this like at least 4 times in a week is good, because sometimes you can go to a party, you can. That's why people are human. You don't kill yourself because hey, you didn't go with your my plate this particular thing. No, it's actually good. It will make you realize, since I didn't, I failed. And I will remove that, cancel that. There's nothing like failure when people are trying to do something. And I would like to take the opportunity too. Everybody, a lot of people, during December time, about to hit January of the next year, a lot of people have all these resolutions that they want to do. They want to get into diet, and they look at the great things that we did today. I came to drink what I thought it was over. I didn't want to go back when we are dancing. So that kind of thing, people do it every blessed day for 30 minutes. You don't have to stand up. You know, you can sit down, stretch your leg, the bottom line is that you are moving. You get that exercise piece for 30 minutes, and it doesn't have to be 30 minutes straight. And then you intentionally know that this is what you want to do. So back to the food again, because I keep mentioning exercise because it's general well-being. It's not just eating right, because you can eat right all you want, and then if you are not moving, you just sitting there not moving, it's not really good. It's not good. Your body will pay the price too. It's a combination. And then the people that are moving a lot without getting some rest. When you talk about promoting general health and well-being, intentionally taking time to rest is actually good. When I say rest, you don't have to sleep. I mean, it's good to sleep, but you just, when I say intentionally, that means you can switch activities. You are doing this activity now, so in order for you to rest, you go to another activity. No. It's just to be authentically present that you are resting. That means if it's your phone, you turn off your phone or turn it down. Don't look at anything. Don't watch. You don't sit down and be watching TV and say that you are resting. No. No. You can turn off everything. Even if somebody is calling you, put your head, whether you put your head down, just dream. Go to wherever you want to go in your dream. Even 30 minutes is good. 10 minutes is actually good. You know, from then you slowly elevate the amount of time that you spend. But the key thing is being intentional. Not just because, hey, I got opportunity now. Let me leave this one. Let me sit down and watch TV. No, you are not resting. Just turn off everything. People call you. Whatever is going to happen will happen. If something that you can stop, you can pick it up later. But you don't just, whatever, God will make it in such a way that it won't happen within that time that you are resting. It's always good to intentionally rest. Okay? And then people spread the word. When I say, when you gather information, whether you are the one giving the information to people, share what you know. Look at when I'm walking away, everywhere I come, whenever there has to be a deliverable, that means what is your takeaway? I have so many takeaways from the life, from the nutrition, the smoothie, the everything. You know, if people get opportunity to share, what are your takeaways from what we did today? It's not loaded up with people, but it's very, very powerful. And then when you get the takeaways, what do? Do you keep it to yourself? Do you share it? Because whatever you have, your knowledge, whatever, it's amazing. People think we own ourselves. No, we don't. Even your children, you don't own your children. You came to this world because you have to come from somebody through God. Yeah, you don't own anybody. And then if you gather your knowledge or what you know, your skills, and then you don't share them, what did you do in this world? Nothing. There's no nothing, absolutely nothing. Even the doctors, clinicians, whatever you do, educators, if you don't impact what you know, the other people to make a difference. One people, and they never say that you can't make a difference, that you shared the smoothie recipe to your general population, you can beat that. You know, when you say population everywhere in the community, it begins with individual. You do it as individual. One of my children, well, my son told me one time when I was sick, I don't know, well, it's always good. People say, what is that saying again? Do what I say. I was saying one thing, I wasn't really doing that. I promised that I'll be doing it. This exercise will go around the neighborhood. But I didn't. That boy told me, don't be selfish. I was, don't be selfish with his eyes like that. That's what makes it. I said, okay, I paused for a second. I paused for, don't be selfish. I'm about to even speak Igbo. Don't be selfish. And then when I paused, the way it came about, it didn't quite, I was going, huh? Then after, when I calmed down, and then I listened, that selfish, don't be selfish part of it is when you are sick, it's not just you. Your entire family is sick. And when the entire family is sick, the entire neighborhood is sick. When the entire neighborhood is sick, the community is sick, the community, that's what he meant. That whatever you're doing is not just for you, it's impacting others. So you do what people do, whatever. This I will seal, I always like to seal up whatever I'm saying by service, okay? The people around us, UNCG, I'm mentioning UNCG because one time, that was last year, I went to their commencement. I think their motto, you know, the way of behaving is service, okay? Service is how how do I call, I'm looking for a word for it, but they put service. I mean, everybody have this service capacity, but those people, the school, just have it as their mode of operation. That means have service to mankind in everything that you do. Whatever you're doing, let service guide what you're doing. It's not how much money you have, it's how you're helping yourself, you're helping your family is helping the community. That's when we cannot arrive as a positive change. Individual, you make a difference, she makes a difference. And when we are talking about different, we're talking about positive difference, not positive to gather everybody to be drinking. That's not that kind of difference that we are talking about. It's a positive difference. And then collectively, and then people can make a change, long-lasting change. That's what makes a difference, a huge difference. When it's long-lasting, that means whether you are there or not, people that will come after you will carry on. And it begins with sharing. That's what I like here. My takeaway is the opportunity to, we call it creating awareness, building informed community. Yes. Yeah, because what you don't say, people will not know that. Building informed community. You can do it. We are all doing it. I gather. I'm just saying. I ended up being talking most of the time. We'd like to hear at least Dora from you, two other people. Thanks for sharing. But what else do you want to share?
I just had a quick question. So I read up on as far as when it comes to using seasonings for making food. Would you say it's true, or what are your thoughts on
it's not okay.
Using using dry seasonings and using like liquid seasonings? Like I heard dry seasonings is more of on the healthier side than using like
even in fresh seasoning, like fresh seasoning. Okay, I will go back, hit back to that African food. I don't know. Do you cook with Maggi cube? You cook, okay. And she said Maggi, she's going, oh yeah, and then no boil on cube, yes. But there's the monoglyceride, what is jumping now? Yeah, that one, okay. It's even at Walmart, okay. It's a seasoning. A good seasoning will be when you mix so many things, because fresh food or even dry food, popular, they actually come with their own seasoning. There's this Mrs. Dash kind of thing is actually very, very good. Okay, but when you hit the Maggi cube, there's a particular one, there's a new one that came out now that don't have, you say, that is not really good because it degrades. It degrades, it tenderizes. Imagine tenderizing your body, if not for lack of other thing, it tenderizes. And it's not good. It degrades, yes, it tastes so good. It tastes so, I don't even want to be, there are some places when you go to eat, the food will be so good tasting, but when you come back, you can feel that something is seriously wrong with you. Yes, the food is so good, but at least for hours, you wish that you did not do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention any names, because the reason is that that place or whatever they do, they put a lot of that accent. They used to call that accent too. It tastes so good, but it's not so it's not good nutritionally. So to bluntly answer your question, the dry one depending on what it is. For example, ginger. Okay, we have the ginger crystals. We have the ginger fresh kind of thing. If you are using ginger, it's better to use the fresh one. Yeah. Whenever you have option between dry, fresh, and fresh is better. Okay. But if then dry, and then the canned one, the only reason why people try to stay away from, or people are supposed to be staying away from so many canned food, is that it's prepared and then they add a lot of salt just to make sure that it doesn't degrade, and that will lead us to sodium. It's never good to talk about good nutrition without mentioning salt. Yes, sodium has that salt, table salt. It has its own purpose, but how many of you have seen people you are giving food to eat? You salt that food before you even taste that. How many people? I have one of my daughters do that. She will salt food without even before she tastes the food. And when I figured out that's what she's doing, I don't put salt. I don't put salt. So if you need salt, you salt it after you already tasted that. It's never good to salt before you taste, because the majority of the food actually has their own natural salt. So taste it before you salt. And yes, and if it's a salty food, yeah, sometimes situation will make it that you won't have access to fresh food. Okay, if it's salty, all you have to do is to rinse it, rinse out the fluid that is is packed in. Rinse, then it will rinse some of the salt. Somebody once told us, if you want to soak up like a green beans kind of, you get a potato, get a peeled potato and then cook it, it will soak up the salt. Yeah, and that was a takeaway. I never practiced that until after that day. Yeah, anything that is a carb, you can use potato, cook it with toast. That's nothing wrong with it. That's but Dora, remember I said, sometimes situation may make it that you won't see the thing. Even if you see that, it may be more expensive. And yeah, people go to fresh market that is supposed to be so good. But when you compare fresh, the amount of fresh thing versus the canned one, the canned ones are cheaper. So everything we do, there is factors that affect that. The area that you live, the store that you go to shop may not have that. Anybody else want to jump in? We're almost finished.
I would say, when I was in Ghana the last time, I know Maggie is used a lot, but the lady who hosted us, her food is so
Delicious.
good. She never used Maggie, so you can make it taste good. Even
Okay.
you know, you use a lot of herbs. You can grow your herbs, basil and all those things, and very easy to grow them.
Talking about the spices, you can use shallot, the small kind of onions, and then shrimp. You can dry the shrimp and then give it a little taste of the natural.
You see? And that's what the sharing is about. Okay, is it already dried?
The dry shrimp. Dry shrimp. because
Okay,
you can
crayfish.
get-
Crayfish,
because
crayfish,
that one you
cray-
know where it's coming from. You feel it. But the dry one, sometimes people still add some stuff. So the whole
Crayfish, yeah,
crayfish,
before
then
you.
blend it,
Okay.
they can add it to any food of cooking.
Okay, you see?
Unless if you want to do the Maggi a little bit.
Mm.
Most onion, the sweet onion,
Mm.
it have a sweet taste.
Yeah.
So if you want to make your sauce more of that, get it that natural taste.
Okay. And then so many people have this habit of putting so many things as a seasoning kind of thing. You wind up having conflicting taste in what you're doing. You are putting red meat when you are cooking. You are putting stock fish in the. You are putting a little bit of fish and then a crayfish after and then you don't know which one you are tasting. I mean, it's good. And that one becomes a problem when it comes to that portion. If you want to use fish, let it be. I'm not saying it's not nutrition. Of course, if it's crayfish and then fish and then stockfish, you know stockfish, right? The thing that tastes so good but smells so bad, that's the worst smelling thing. If you have never, some people have compared stockfish to, is it chitlin? What do they call it? It's even worse. They even say that stockfish chitlin is worse than chitlin. Yeah.
Smell like it's
Spoiled,
fermented or something.
it's kind of the way they process it.
I mean the stockfish. No, it's not fermented. It's dried and it's air dried. I think. I don't think it's
It goes
smoked.
through that
Decaying,
decaying and
yeah.
then dried. So you have that like a spoiled.
Yeah, it tastes so good, but it smells. That's
So with decayed chicken.
okra soup. Yes, okra soup is the best. If you use stockfish and okra soup, that's the best tasting, one of the best tasting things. But if you can stand the smell, so anybody else?
It doesn't smell bad.
Yeah? No, this in the soup, just like she said, it's when you are it's the aroma when you are cooking it. But when you are eating it, it's the after. It's when, and it's funny. But I don't know what he's doing. But we are not getting away from what we are talking about. I remember years ago, whenever you are cooking that stockfish, that's when the mailman, you get this package that warrant the mailman to come and ring your bell so you can open the door, and then the entire house will be smelling like what I don't know. If I'm the one delivering mail, I will say, what are you doing here? And so that's what stockfish smells like, but it really tastes so good.
One thing I realized when it comes to like cooking, is just as me personally, just using just your basic salt and pepper. Just brings also the natural flavors into whatever vegetables.
You see?
Or,
And then people can actually practice that. Remember, it's like a direct conflict from what I said. You put so many, what I was saying, I didn't say people do it. I said I have seen people, even me sometimes, conflict in taste. Putting too much. You look at simply salt and then give the food a chance to get its aroma. And people can actually benefit. And we are talking about ways to cook. How about way to eat too? Some people be eating in a hurry. A situation may warrant you to be eating in a hurry. You don't take a chance to just, calm down and savor, whatever it is that you are eating, so it can make sense. Because it makes sense to you, and then it will actually make a super sense, to your body that will be using the food for what it's supposed to be. We can all do. See, it's amazing. We didn't begin here by condemning. We said we are collectively trying to generating alternative ways of cooking. And then how about palm oil? How about palm oil? People can, it's amazing. Remember what I said about cholesterol before? Okay, you can't get cholesterol from any plant source, okay? So you will never get cholesterol from any plant source. So cholesterol only comes from animal source, okay? But there's this thing we call, we have saturated fat, okay? Every saturated fat comes from every animal source. But there are two plant sources that they have not cholesterol but saturated fat, and they are palm kernel oil and the palm kernel, not the red, not even the red oil, it's the palm kernel oil and coconut oil. And what do they do? Coconut oil is good to certain things, is so many good things, but what that does, it doesn't give you cholesterol, but it will raise the so-called bad cholesterol, which is what? The HDL. The HDL, which is not really cholesterol, is how cholesterol are moved in the body. Yeah, but everybody just knows it as a cholesterol. So it doesn't give you cholesterol, but it will make it in such a way that the bad cholesterol will be raised. And that's what that means. That's what unsaturated fat, saturated fat does for you. A good way to eat unsaturated, mono or polyunsaturated is good. When you cook like safflower oil, canola oil, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, and then when people bake, you've heard about trans fat. You've heard about like shortening, vegetable shortening. The vegetable one is good because when you say trans, remember I'm looking at Dora because she knows better. The fat comes as what we call cis in nature. Cis means it's like the same side, okay? When you incorporate hydrogen. That's why it's called, remember the transfer, that means it has had hydrogen incorporated. So when you look at the structure, how it's supposed to look after it has already had that hydrogen incorporated in it, it's like opposite. That's why it's called what? Trans. When you look at the structure, it's trans fat or trans fatty acid. It's not really, and it's amazing. It's loaded up in hidden things, like bakery kind of thing. How many people actually look at the food label? When you get cookies that taste so good, all kinds of bakery, look at that. Yes, okay, remember my highlight, it tastes so good, that means it's very appetizing, but look at the label. So to seal up or getting ready to seal up, if we didn't get anything, I've already got my own takeaway. Thanks to all of you. But if nobody does anything, moving it forward, if there's one thing that you must do, if it's something that is packaged or canned that will, read the label. Read the label to see what you're getting. Read the label. Because, yeah. Okay.
I have something to share.
Okay.
So when I had my baby, the doctor said I have a gestational diabetes.
Okay.
So gestational diabetes.
Gestational diabetes, yeah.
No, I don't need a mic. I'll be okay. Oh, my love.
Gestational
So
diabetes.
the doctor said, they did my A1C on the spot, and then my sugar was like, it was high. But that day when I was going for the appointment, actually I passed by KFC. And I got my chicken, and I got my biscuit and my coleslaw. I ate everything. Of course, A1C is like 3 months prior to, but it was so high. I said, huh? So I told the doctor, he said, after everything, he said, it's 3 things: medication, exercise, and your food. So he wrote metformin. And then when I got the medication, I have the side effect.
Yeah, people.
One of them, I will lose weight. The other one, I'll gain weight. I said, so I don't know whether I'm going to gain weight and I want to lose weight. I said, no, I'm not going to take the medication.
Hey, now we are coming.
So I said, I'll go for the class. I went to the class and I did my diet. The class I finished, and that's when I got
my plate, yes.
And it's more of the vegetables. So I tried, and of course I did a little bit of Herbalife, and I lost some weight, which I started eating the rice and peas in the morning. But it really helped me, and so 3 months I have to go back and do my A1C.
It was down.
It was down.
Good.
It was like 6 over, if not 7. I was like, no. So it went down, and I went to test. I said, can I take that diagnosis off my list? I don't want to die. It's
because
something that is good. So the exercise, the diet, and the food really helped. So that's what I want to share.
yeah, and you have because the gestational diabetes, just like we were talking about diabetes before, the 3 major, people always talk about the 2 major ones. That's type 1 and type 2. Gestational diabetes is when you are pregnant, or people can still be experiencing it or when they have the baby until. So what that one does is that it can make somebody more at risk of developing the type 2 diabetes. But it's gone. I mean, it's amazing when people. There's this man that used to play Beaver. That is a grown man now. I don't know how old Beaver is. Beaver will come, whatever his name is. It Jerry Matters? That we guys are very young, but that's Beaver. Leave it to Beaver. It's okay. So he will come and say, "I have diabetes, but now I don't know." People can't really claim that you have it and now you don't have. It's very deceiving. So once that diagnosis, but for the gestational, after the situation like you have your baby and then that one can disappear. If you keep managing, that is not a death sentence that if you have it, you must carry over. No. But once they get you don't just diagnose somebody of having diabetes just by wanting. No, because after eating, just like you said, you drop by this and this, and then A1C has to tap into at least 3 months of what that's but there's things like if I drink a glass of orange juice now, less than 2 hours, if my bro, of course it has to rise like that. That one is something else. So removing diagnosis it doesn't really matter whether it's removed or not. The bottom line is how are you managing it? As long as once they do that test, it will actually fall under normal. The diagnosis will say if it's diabetes but well controlled, or diabetes without complication. They can't take it back. They will say either that's well controlled or without complication. That's what people want. Well controlled. You can't beat well controlled, and then you did it without medicine. Because the medicine that you mentioned, a lot of people had the issue with that. And most of that's something else that I want to squeeze into, since we are doing general well-being. I'm not doing clinician to give medicine, but most of the medicine, because some population don't participate in doing what we call the clinical trial. So most of the medications is not really designed with some population in mind. So that's amazing. So part of spreading the word and making people in effort to build in healthier communities, encouraging people to participate in clinical trial. Yes, African American, they may have a reason not to participate. Look at what happens and what happened in Tuskegee. And look at, yes, there is a reason for people to be scared to participate in. Look at what happened in Tuskegee. If you never knew that, go ahead and read about it. Remember the Tuskegee, the syphilis study. You know, something was happening, and it happened. The government, it's the public health. There was cure for something. They were monitoring the natural cause, not the cause, but the cause. How does it run? Why people are dying and developing all kinds of complications. So it's a scary thing, but in order to get good medication designed for a particular population, people that representative from that population have to participate, or otherwise it will keep being like that. It will be trial and error. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We gathered a lot.
We must have her back when we have a crowd.
Yes.
There's a lot of information.
And this, I will leave this with the people, just like she's saying. This one, I don't need to take it back, but everybody's risk changes, and it's about this diabetes. You take it. It's called diabetes risk assessment. It's not to monitor your sugar. If you score 5 or above, please, when you go to your doctor, talk about it. If you score, that's the only thing I'm going to say. If you score 5 or above, talk to your doctor. Because when you pinpoint something ahead of, I think it's two sides. One is in Spanish, the other one is here. You do the English one. You take it, it takes a second, you keep it, it's your own thing. If you score 5 or above, then when you go to your doctor, talk about it. It's not diagnosis, it's risk assessment. So with the closer to 5 or above, you are at a higher risk. That's all that means. And even if you're at higher risk, there's nobody that says that you must develop type 2 diabetes, no. But you do something to make it not to happen. And if you want a copy of this, you can retain this. Okay. Okay, and you have one already. You already have it like that. Okay.
Let's give Dr. Uzor a
Thank you. There you go.
And now I would like to encourage everybody to go and get your BC, your blood pressure check, and your blood sugar level check before leaving today. But right now we're going to have the annex dancers who are going to perform. And then we're about to come to the close of this wonderful wellness.
Yeah, it has really been wonderful.
And where is that place that I may rest? That says that make with the mountains and hills. I will dry up all their heads. I will make the rivers islands. I will dry up the pool. I will bring the blind by a way that they do not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness lie before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them. I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. I am the Lord.
I don't know what the blood sugar, this is there should be a meter to check it. I'll go out there and ask, can someone go ask, Mama Dora for the blood sugar? Someone can come do it?
Blood sugar kids?
Yeah, it's here, but can someone else come in?
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, I'll take your blood pressure.
Okay.
Do you want to write it down?
Yes, I do, because I keep a record of it.
All right. And now it's your right arm.
And I was sitting.
Yes.
You want the dates, right? Today's
Yes.
the 18th. All right, I'm ready for you now.
Thank you very much.
The blood sugar's over here.
You want me to do the blood sugar? Yeah, he can take this one. I'm not gonna get one.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
You want to do it?
Calm down.
Relax, relax, relax. Don't be stressing, relax. Amen, that's right.
Since I
Mama
had that,
Georgia's
yeah.
gonna get the blood.
I didn't do them well, I believe. I hope you don't find me in trouble.
Which one? Do you have a preference?
Borderline. It's bad.
Yes.
What, I mean, what you got?
I don't do it
I'm gonna get it over my phone, but.
Oh, okay, you can make that down.
That's a good test. All right, thank you.
You don't want your,
Blood sugar?
Oh, my blood sugar is
concerned
fine.
about her blood pressure?
Yeah, my blood sugar is always good.
Yes. All right, hope your blood pressure is down there.
It's really good.
From your mama?
No, yeah.
Takes him
I need to go pick her.
26. I need some back, trash back.
You gotta check your blood
Yeah.
pressure. You wanna check your blood pressure? Seems like you know what you're doing.
I'll let a professional do it.
My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Oh, you can,
Mama, my stomach can get hooked up.
Ni ma yana ni abi ni wura.
Oh, no, they're not yet.
Ba
I
ni
don't
na
think she's
ni.
baby. I know my favorite.
Ni na
Mama
ni.
wanna relax.
Oh, ni abi.
Oh.
Sugar.
I have to put this in the pan.
Ya mo ko ni ya mo ka to di ni.
I got 140 over 90.
it's a hot day.
Aha! What you been eating?
Like I said, it's a hot day.
I didn't take salt like I did. Since that time when I'm going to the doctor, I use fasting.
Just high blood pressure right there, mister.
I know it because now I start to get.
That's not your skills. My son not ready for you.
So much.
Good. Young day. Young day.
They just think, Mama. Fast.
My son, and your blood pressure will be good. And your blood pressure will be good.
I know. My it's from 70. But
You're gonna get a D.
That must be gonna get into
Relax your arm.
I can't even do that.
140 you consult diabetes.
No, we call you. Not that we call. But that do. Wait, I check it out. That do. Now fasting. Nine. I check out. Sometimes Monday no low. Monday that is.
Anyway, 130 is good.
130.
I don't know, I'm not matique, I'm not matique. My family are many. Name ya adenye kikira pe mi la no dry. Iyo ga chop no.
Brown rice. Brown rice.
One rice and toilet be.
142 over 70. Blood pressure's high.
The brown rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you been eating?
Okay. You ready?
I am ready.
You want me to check your blood pressure?
Oh, somebody come. Yeah. You know your chair is for everybody.
No, nobody that I said that I would do what
Don't say
this
something.
Not yet.
That's I see going outside.
Because someone else was, so she was getting her blood sugar.
Why was she going to the hospital? She had to wait.
I just want to let it dry.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes people will come in my head.
Yeah.
Anything can mess it up for
That's
when it's dry. Yeah.
Wow, you did it very well. I barely felt it.
Yeah. I prayed about it. Oh wow. Have you eaten? Okay, good. Nothing of 82.
What was it supposed to be?
So it's a range of 70 to 90. But it depends on Moses Coleman is something different.
Okay.
But on a general thing, I think it's 70, between 70 and 90, right?
120.
70 and 110.
between that.
Oh,
Mhm.
so that's
That's
pretty
So
good.
that's very good.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you eat and it's 140, don't panic. Make the food.
Exactly.
Okay, you know the things that will cause it. Apple juice.
Yeah.
So orange juice. But those ones, if it's low, they'll ask you to blend it up.
I mean, it's
And
just
the
like,
food, couple.
Yeah.
Food.
I mean, it's just like my BP
140
is
over
usually
60. So the
okay.
top number is
But
very
it's
high.
now 140 by 90.
Over
It's hot
60.
outside, you know. Just came in.
And then we are prone to high blood pressure, especially
I have
men.
high pressure.
Yeah.
One,
So,
140
because of salt and
your,
all
your,
that stuff. But
your,
if
the
it's
top number
140,
is high.
120 over 80 is normal.
So,
yeah.
So
look,
140,
you're not, I can, yeah, 140 over 60.
Maintain it.
Yeah.
Because
Gloria,
You want it
the
to
last
be-
week is
your weight
200, now it's good. I see it's good.
It's going down, it's going down.
Because I take medicine.
That's why, oh, that's why.
but it's not.
My BMI.
And I
So the
dance
next
a
thing,
little bit, that's what I want.
You did some more, but that's why
But
we're
you
doing.
just have to, yeah, but it's good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You'll write it
What's your
down.
blood sugar?
You'll write it down.
Oh, 83, oh, that's good.
I'm gonna give you
52.
Good.
Adding,
Ow,
you
that
keep
was-
adding
And you
my
rub-
vitals. My BP must not be 150 or
church.
1,000.
Can I take the church? No, can I take the chair?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's go. I cannot take all those chairs by myself.
Dude, you can go start. Go.
You go start.
Are you getting a blood pressure check? Oh, you're good.
The nice going vegetarian.
Oh, he is? Good. You know, a lot of nurses now are, going on that vegetarian, like eliminating white nurses, not black nurses.
I just cut out
Like the meat. Because, what they're saying is that, our body's not is not built to process like meat. We're supposed to eat like our body process like vegetables and grains better than meat. Because it takes your body longer to digest and break down meat.
Here, because like everything here is just processed.
And it's not even real meat.
It's not.
We're
Like back
eating like
home,
rubbers.
back home at least everything was grown in the house
Yeah.
and everything. But here,
Definitely.
Have you eaten today? No, okay, 74. 74.
Go. It's okay. It's getting close to 70. So make sure you eat something. Drink some juice.
Don't let it go too low.
Yeah.
That is,
It's not high, but it's
I
Let
know
me
if
check
I
my
do
blood
mine-
sugar too.
If I do mine, it's gonna be high. I ain't that good one.
Sorry.
So I have to either watch it or shit.
Sure.
I lay down and said, this is bad.
I eat like when I get off work.
I wore my clothes and I was like, I gotta stop.
When I get off work, because I work night, I always eat rice in the morning and go to sleep, which is not good. But it's like I just.
And sometimes when the food is good, you can sleep.
Okay.
Like when I wake up, I eat my rice and I sleep on the floor.
alright. I'm about to leave it right now.
So who wanna check?
I said I'm about to leave it right now.
Oh, let him check it out.
Bye. Bye.
One banana. It's ridiculous. Mine, I said I have to put a container.
Yeah.
Because I like the cheese. So I'm gonna put a container.
Yeah, I'm gonna check your blood pressure.
I don't know how this works.
You wanna know how it works?
Put this on your
How
arm,
old are you?
squeeze your arm.
15, 16-ish.
15, 16 ish.
I'm turning 16 in October.
So you are 15.
15-ish.
Say 15. No, ish. Say 15.
It's
Yeah.
looking like 15. It's
Ish.
15.
Hey, this generation.
See? That's why I don't take my blood pressure. I hate when the doctor do that.
Wow, this one is nice. So you put it on your arm, and you just press it on the way.
watching.
Yes, you did. You got some smoothie.
3 cups.
That's something. This on my arm. Can you pull this through? This one's easier. And then just squeeze it.
You wanna see if it's working?
And then just press on here. Formula number 76. I know my blood pressure went up. You wanna check yours?
Right, that's what you have
I
to
think
check.
that's it. I think that's it.
I think, oh, you just want the sugar.
Yeah, I know now.
Oh, you wanna check your?
Let's see y'all.
Your blood pressure or your blood sugar?
That one she was good.
I don't see my Dora have access to these.
I think they did it one time.
Here? Oh my gosh. I'm afraid of, oh, my needles.
Oh, yeah, like that. I like that.
I know.
If I go for blood, I'm like,
I never look. I look the other
if
way.
I see the bottle with the blood going in, it's like, oh.
I don't think I can do this to myself. You do it to yourself first.
Yeah, I've been doing it in the morning.
Really?
Sometimes I feel shaky and I know my sugar is low.
Do it. Let me see you.
Because if I do it, I have to.
Okay, do it. You'll use this one. Oh, okay, so it's not that bad then. It's just a little prick.
Oh, wow. After all that watching, thank you, Jesus. Seriously, that. I don't know that.
Okay, it's not that bad. You said it's not that bad.
It's a soft spring. Thick.
I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do this.
You can do it.
I don't think I can. Okay, you do it. I don't think I can do it to myself.
Go, 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 go.
It's a needle. I don't like giving needles to myself.
Like you're sticking people.
I don't mind.
Okay. You've worked it already.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
This is not, it's not a good. Did you get it, Mark?
Yeah, that should be enough. 77.
You see, because I've eaten, see, I'm the only, okay.
But I
me and
ate too.
Mama, I'm
Oh, I didn't
111.
like that. You're 111?
Mama was 131.
I drank the smoothie and everything.
So you see how the rice is.
That's true.
But it's even, I was thinking maybe it might be 200 because it was a lot. I ate that and I was questioning myself. I was like, you're eating rice and.
Oh, mine is, but I try to exercise at least, 3 days a week. I try to do.
Herbal life is good for me. I did
Yeah.
and I lost, so I'm going back. I've been doing it, but I'm not too, because it's like a joint you have to do. I'll do it. So, do you want to check your
I think
sugar?
On tape. Yeah.
Check your sugar, make sure, let's see how
Sugar and
sweet
blood
you
pressure.
are.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're too sweet,
You know how
some
to-
sugar out.
Yeah.
The blood pressure is right there and it's easy to use. You're good, right? Okay. I'm gonna step up.
You have to unpack it.
The sugar first. Oh, I didn't even ask.
Yeah. So you're gonna like.
It's not hard, just close your eyes.
doing good.
Yeah. To dry, yeah.
You can't find it too. But most people do it, but it's not exact. You see? It's not that hard.
I'm gonna check my blood pressure.
You want me to put that in your arm? Oh, you took it off.
85.
Good, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, you're
Most
good.
people here.
Okay, I forgot to tell you, right, not the name, but the numbers that you got.
Okay, I can
Oh,
review.
okay.
Okay.
I was 77, my son was 74, and we told him,
Mama Sunday.
is it 72, 74?
Well, you got it.
That's good. It's between 70 and, it says 70 and one. What is the range?
It's 71, 10, yeah.
110. So you are within the range. It's good.
I need to cut. Yeah, I need.
No. You haven't eaten, so it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
if
eating.
it's not
I'm
going
not
to go
eating.
up. If
Oh,
with
so this one
food,
is
without
electronic.
food,
So
it's
you
this,
just
that
plug
makes
it in
good.
and plug it in right
Because
here.
if you eat, it's gonna go up. But
Yeah.
how high, we don't know.
Yeah.
But at least you haven't eaten. The base is good.
I don't take in so much sugar though.
So the base is good.
Okay. Alright.
I try not to buy sugar. Whenever I do, but this day I've changed.
Yeah, I knew it was
Because
high.
if it's there,
What
I'm
is it? Oh, I knew it was high because I haven't taken my medicine. 149.99. This
Over 99.
this medicine I'm using now doesn't work like the amlodipine.
Yeah. See, that's the same thing the other lady was talking about. She said the medication, her blood pressure is high because she's on all these, from the Caribbean, the light-skinned lady. She's on all these blood pressure medication that doesn't help her. And then they keep on giving her medication, so she stopped taking them. Remember?
Yeah, but she gotta take something to get the pressure down. She gotta do
Well,
something.
I mean, you can't keep taking something that's true.
I don't understand why it's not coming down. It's supposed to be, there should be something. Let me do my blood sugar.
You don't get anybody with
Oh, you good?
No, I'm good.
Everyone was below 110.
Yeah, so I got 85.92,
I didn't even write the blood pressure down.
111, that's, and then I know that's too high.
Oh, you ready?
Everything was within
You know,
85.
I do this all the time.
Yeah, it's gonna go up. If you put it in, it's gonna go up. We're gonna be
I'm such in a habit of doing it.
Yeah, she couldn't stick herself.
I couldn't.
You can't now. You can't now.
I don't like needles. I just
I
cannot.
work sometimes, it's like I'm shaking.
I don't have a problem
I know my
giving
sugar
it.
is low. I said, let me check it.
82? The exercise! The exercise!
You see,
I've never
If you
most
drive
drive mine 90 something. Most of the
85,
time
92,
mine.
81, 82, 91. The two of us were the highest. Oh my goodness, because I ended up watching.
Really?
Who's that? I mean, not who, but.
HIPAA violation.
She took,
Can you
No, no, no,
she
I
took,
don't-
no, I'm not gonna lie, she took
I'm
some
kidding.
cookies right away when she came in.
That's
And
why.
I confess, I ate watching.
Mhm.
8:30.
But anyway, y'all let the people know, how you have to be careful.
Oh, your blood pressure is good. 121 over 82.
So,
Good. Thank you.
You have a perfect.
That's
Blood
because.
pressure. Thank you.
Let me see. So what I'm gonna do is go take my medicine right now.
Oh, you can walk in.
And then
Exercise.
exercise.
Go ahead and do another more.
You know, at least.
Mama Dora, oh, you want me to keep, or
Yeah,
just in case?
You know,
Yeah, this is sure.
You know, this is probably the C3 that we do. The C3 that caregiver, what do you call it? This caregiver
Is it done?
college.
Yeah.